Welcome back to our podcast. And today is a special podcast that we haven't done previously. Today we'll be going into the depths of Anush's mind and who he is and what he's done till now because he's the vision behind the company, behind all the businesses we set up. And he has so much value and so much like wisdom and knowledge on the business side of the world that he can offer everyone. Because I'm telling this story from my side, from what I've experienced with Anush, my whole journey with him. And, we were speaking about it one day and we were like, we should do a podcast where we talk a lot about his life, about how he started and how he created that discipline to become the person he is today to run like multiple corporations, consultancies, handling crypto portfolios. We'll dive deep into everything in this whole podcast. And there's so much value that's going to be provided from Anush in this podcast to everyone who's watching, like proper guidance. He's helping so many people on a daily, like to, start making money or see things from a business perspective. And literally, there's one of our friends who's watching this podcast as we speak, who Anush has actually helped train and, develop him by giving him an opportunity in one of his own businesses. So it's the very inspiring. Anush.
Thank you for the kind words, bro. Thank you for the kind words.
Of course, brother. Straight from the heart. So tell us introduction, how you would introduce yourself to someone.
How would I introduce? Okay. Hey guys, my name is Anush. I look at myself as an e-commerce entrepreneur, as well as someone who likes to guide and help people around, not just for making money, but to understand the process behind it and to follow the journey, because the journey is more fun than the actual way of receiving the monetary incentive. Because if you can do it once, you'll do it over and over again. That's the only thing that I follow.
It becomes an addiction for you, huh?
Addiction, yeah, but it's more of, inspiration. You're able to help others. That's the
Right.
goal. Doing it alone is not something that motivates me. It's not fun then. You wake up every day. You have to look forward based on who you're going to meet, as well as who's going to come and meet you and spend time with you. That process forms a good connection in terms of making money. And you can either look at it in a business format or even a job. Like
Right.
when I speak about this, I'm not talking only that, entrepreneurship or business is the way. You could find a way to connect with people through a job, through, the trenches, and then work your way up. But you have to sharpen your skill sets along the way. Like I told you, condition program your mind. Very simple. Like you tell yourself how many hours are there in a day, start planning it out, what do you need to do, but you need to be more conscious and aware about it. And then you can start doing this step by step. So this is where like the entire story itself comes from, like e-commerce in general.
Right. So recently you put up a post on LinkedIn that even got me more like, creative side to making this podcast. Okay, we have to introduce who you are so that it builds that credibility. And we're doing a lot of stuff now on LinkedIn to change the way things were done before. And you introduced yourself as the guy who went from Amazon delivery boy to e-commerce founder and, running a bunch of other businesses in the side. So tell us, like, how was early childhood? Like, what, like, someone like you had, I basically know everything about you. We've grown up together. But tell me, like, we need to understand how someone like you operates at, like, the way that you operate with everything that you handle, which is not easy. Like, and when you tell this story, I believe a lot of people believe that things are possible now because of what you did in your entire journey and how you are handling everything step by step, breaking it down. So tell me, like, from childhood, what made you inspired?
With childhood, everything comes down to football. Like that was how we both met, like playing for the football team for school, representing UAE, going to Bombay and playing. And, these are the things that brought us together. But what I learned a lot along the way is networking is very important. Like you have to have the right friends. So the school that you're in, the university you're in, that creates a mindset of who you're going to be. And like our company, for example, we've started it with only 4 of us and we know each other's mindset. So we're able to adapt and work in sync with this. So as life progressed, when we went into university, e-commerce became a very big thing, which is, people shopping online. Then I started shopping online as well. So I have this thought process. In the world, you're either a consumer or you're a producer, or you can also be both. But if you're a consumer, you need to understand that there is someone doing something to give you whatever they want and they're taking money from you. And that was what Amazon was to me. And in the UAE, it was like souk.com at that time. So as you know, in the summers, you have the summer break. So there was a 3-month break and me and a couple of friends, we were looking for part-time jobs. What do we do? So at first we went to an amusement park and we got an opportunity to be one of the mascots. Three of my friends got in, I didn't get in there. So I was like, okay, everyone's working for the summer, I need to do something as well. So an opportunity came up where I got to be a delivery boy for Amazon, for Souk.com back then. And it was June, July, August. Every day I would have to reach the warehouse at 8 a.m. and leave by 5 p.m. And my job is just travel around with the delivery guy, take the device, scan the packages, go and give it. The good thing is incentive was there. Like I was getting paid 3,000 dirhams for a month. And imagine being like 16, 17 years old, making 3,000 dirhams per month in the summer when your pocket money itself is like 500 dirhams a month. So when you go back to university, you're like already, okay, something's good. But that is a part of things that made me more comfortable towards understanding what goes on in the back end of this business. Then we moved to COVID. We graduated, COVID happened, and during COVID, right before COVID, I got an opportunity to work as an intern in Alsir, and that's where my entire journey in a job life started, where I had to put myself in front of people, be presentable, be disciplined, show up at the right time, understand qualities of what's required to be in an office, which is you have to have time management. Whatever you say, that's your word. You can't go against it. And from an intern, in the span of 2.5 years, within 2.5 years was my journey at Alsir. And the way it progressed was 6 months I was an intern. I moved to being a sales coordinator and then a trade marketing analyst. And right after that, I got an opportunity to be an e-commerce specialist. Now, the way it works, who is Alsir in Dubai? Alsir is a distributor for the top global brands in the world, like Heinz, Colgate. Alsir is just a distributor if you have to look at it this way. You have a manufacturer, you have a brand, and then you have the distributor. And then you have retailers and then the end consumers. That's the supply chain that it works. And that's what I started to understand when I got into that business. So when I got into e-commerce, the first thing I had to know is who are my customers. Talabat, Noon, Kareem, and Amazon. Talabat, Noon, and Kareem fall under quick commerce. The reason why it's quick commerce is because they follow a 30-minute delivery model. That means a user can get their products within 30 minutes. Now, to us, that's very fascinating because back in the day, you had to go to the grocery and pick up whatever you want. So this kind of changed the game a lot. And me getting into this job at the age of 21 years old was, amazing. For me, at least, it was amazing because I'm like a guy with a fresh brain. There's no previous experience. There's no case studies on what's the best practices. That's the one thing I loved about quick commerce, which is there's no 25-year history of what worked offline that has to work online. So you kind of build your own narrative. You kind of find the best way that you do things. So being an e-commerce specialist in Alsir, I learned a lot from my manager there. His name is Imran, and our manager together, Aji, because they gave me the freedom to go out in the field, learn, come back with insights, and we'll work together on it. And this allowed me to, spread my wings and go and see what it is, like going and negotiating contracts, learning the art of sales. How do you negotiate by giving someone what they want and you getting what you want, but it's in a win-win relationship. And it needs to make sense as well. So in quick commerce business, what that path really took me down a deep rabbit hole of e-commerce, because I started to realize people just want to get things to themselves immediately. They don't want to wait anymore. And when we go into that direction, it's more like, okay, which are the brands that I'm handling right now? At Alsir, I was handling a certain big group of brands. Where did I gain a lot of information from? Americana just hired an e-commerce director. His name is Adam. When he came in, he spoke logic, which was quick commerce can be linked to social media because social media has traffic and you can get traffic for cheaper and redirect them for a specific purpose. And that made me like go into the rabbit hole of marketing. Like, digital marketing is the future because traditional marketing is billboards, newspapers, radio. The new form of marketing is digital because rather than me having a billboard on the road and somebody has to drive by it to see my brand, the billboard is right now everyone's mobile phone. And everyone's scrolling on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. If you just put your brand there, they'll be able to see it. Your communication is right. They'll be able to interact with it and they'll move to wherever you want. So it's like a funnel where you have to move people in which direction you want them to move. Now, where does the whole like e-commerce thing get in very deep? It was right when right when I got accepted as an intern, I remember we were just at home playing games because, at that point, we're very juvenile mind and Fortnite was a very big thing. So when we were at home, I remember I called you and I told you one day I heard about Shopify. And there was this guy, his name is Desi Rich Kid. And he's been posting a lot of content that you can make a lot of money online if you just do this, set up your store on Shopify, run ads. So I was like, you know what, let's see what it is. And I paid like, I think 4,000 dirhams for that course. And what that actually taught me, like I didn't progress a lot with it because I was more focused on my 9 to 5 job because I was learning a lot there. But I gained a lot of knowledge to understand on a direct to consumer basis, how does Shopify work? How does it make money? How do brands make money when they launch their brand on Shopify? So fast forward, after Alsir, moved into Emirates Snack Food. And when I came to Emirates Snack Food, that's where the game changed. Because at Alsir, no matter how big you are, the company is so big that the level of impact that you have on the overall sales is still not as significant as when you go to a growing company. And entering a growing company where I got opportunities to, handle the entire quick commerce business, and they allowed me to handle it as my own because I treated it with a lot of respect. I have a lot of emotional standpoint to it because I built it. I believe that I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into it. So it's something that you call like my baby. And then from that direction is where I started to realize, you know what, marketing is the way forward because I can see the growth of these companies. Distributors are growing like 2-3 times on e-commerce just because a lot of consumers are coming there. And the reason why they're coming there is the sole purpose is marketing. So when it came into that direction, I started handling a different set of brands, had the freedom to explore marketing opportunities. Like you remember the CGI marketing video that I showed you, where we did a CGI video of Shan with Noon. And this got a lot of eyeballs. For me, it's not about conversions at the moment because for you to drive conversions, you need to drive awareness first. And like that's where when we formed our company, Mantanga, everything fell into one bucket together because we were like, we understand marketing. The reason why we understand marketing is human psychology. It's just social behavior of people. Like people like to see the same thing over and over if it's compelling to their eyes. And it's like dopamine rush to people. And marketing psychology is if a human sees something more than 7 times, they will remember it. At least subconsciously, they will remember it if they see it again. So that same concept you apply in the aspect of the business. And when we were at ESF, like when I was at ESF, at least what I learned was, the art of sales, being able to grow your network, speak to people in the right way, build your communication, because you need to talk clearly for someone to understand you clearly. And then from there, our business started picking up on the side as well, because from a marketing level, we just knew what we are capable of. And like putting ourselves out there, getting involved into crypto. I won't go deep into crypto because let's leave that for a different thing. But this is more on, how did e-commerce start? So that's been the journey. And today we are where we are.
Right. Very inspiring to hear the whole thing. You started with like when you mentioned crypto, there's at least from the top of my head, what I can remember, correct me if I'm wrong. You're handling multiple crypto portfolios and your own. You're helping other people develop their crypto portfolios. You have your own business, Mantaga. You have another business that you've acquired recently, the online digital shopping mall. You will stress on it also later. And you are a consultant for a multinational company over here in Dubai. So there's so many things that you do. And it's like it requires a lot of responsibility from your side to put in, discipline. And these things from the person that you were, the Amazon delivery boy, walk us through how you started getting the visions and the thought process and the ideas on how I'm going to, sculpt myself as a man into being able to do these tasks. Because to be honest, if I didn't have the guidance that I received from you, I would never be successful in the business field because you have to accept where you're lacking and you ask support from people who are capable, right? So I followed this and I was constantly watching and learning and asking you constantly whatever you can teach me about banks and this. And so many people now find the impact of what you speak on our socials already. But walk us through how you got your first idea on starting a business towards financial freedom, I'd like to say. How was the vision? Like, how we spoke about it initially.
So where it all came from was when I was at Alsir, things were going very well. Like I liked my job. I liked the quality of work that I was putting in. But it came to a point where it just wasn't enough for me. Like there was something that I just wanted more. Like it just felt like being somewhere from 9 to 5, from one time to the other, just even though you're done with your task for the day or you're done. For me, I didn't look at it as task for the day. I looked at it more like, what has to be done to get the job done to lead to achieving your target. Because for me, everything was sales driven. So along that process, I started feeling very uncomfortable where I had to be somewhere at a certain time and leave at a certain time. And then my life outside the office started only from then. And that's where I explored. I was like, I need something else for myself. I need to at least build something for myself, or I need to go somewhere else where I can work remotely. But I didn't know what work remotely meant. So the first opportunity that came to my head was to create an online shopping mall where deals can be put in one place concisely together. And I approached you with it and I told you this is the idea. It was like early
2020, I believe.
2022. Early 2022 was when we had that
Okay.
first conversation. And then I told you as well, and we sat down in your restaurant and I pulled out a presentation and I told you, this is what I've made. This is how it can work. These are the people that we need to do this. But things went into that direction where it didn't prosper at that time. But then what I started to realize is it had a lot to do with our mindset. Like, how are we able to take in information? And at that point, where I lacked was being good at communicating what's right and what's wrong, and being able to be confident in, this is my idea, this is my plan. So that's where it all started. Like the vision first came from there, that hunger of not wanting to be in a 9 to 5, but then slowly accepting how that can change and, using that to my benefit.
Because for a very long time you were running your business and staying in a 9 to 5, but while you were enjoying 9 to 5, because you kind of created the 9 to 5 to function in your favor rather than being a disadvantage for you. So you were able to do a lot of your business work, grow the business in a lot of ways, and do your 9 to 5. Walk us through how you're handling a business as the CEO, managing director. You have a very active role to play in that business in order for it to move forward. Because, like I told you, you're the visionary. Our business doesn't move forward if you don't have certain visions. We are there like to help provide that energy to grow it. So tell us how you were able to change that 9 to 5 mentality and shift towards like.
So, a 9 to 5 mentality in the start, to me, it was just like, okay, I go here, I got to work, and then I leave at this specific time. Then, after I started my business, I kind of realized that, I can change the way I perceive things and use it to my advantage. So, I started to enjoy the work that I do. And at Emirates Snack Food, I had the best time a best time that I could work at any environment. Good culture, amazing people to work with, amazing people to have conversations with. So people are not only talking about work, you're actually building a network over there. And the best part is I had the freedom to, express myself in terms of my quality of work. And that resulted in showing in the numbers. So I started improving the way I worked. I was like, you know what? I'm in Dubai. Everybody all around the world wants to come to Dubai and work. I'm grateful that I'm in Dubai. I'm working for a billion dirham company. The next thing is, who are my customers? Talabat Noon Kareem. They're one of the biggest in quick commerce. They are the biggest in quick commerce. So I started changing perceptions about things. I enjoyed going to their offices and having meetings because I'm going there, building my network with them, building a good relationship. Everything goes on relationship. I don't have bad relationships with people because I fail to keep them like that. Like I always have good relationships with people. So when I would go to their offices, have meetings with them, we would have very productive meetings, sit, discuss what can we do to grow the brand together. Grow the brand, grow the platform at the same time. And these kind of events just automatically made me feel like, I'm enjoying the process. When I go back to the office, I don't have people, sitting on my head and telling me do this, do that. But in reality, I'm actually enjoying my work. So I don't mind being there for that 9 to 5 period. And that's where the mentality switch came, which also happened in Alseed, but I found it very difficult to accept it. But when I was at Emirates Snack Food, I accepted it a lot more faster because the entire management from the top to down was like that. It was not enforced that you have to sit here at your desk from this time to this time. It's a very free space. And, when people give you freedom, you give them respect. You don't disrespect them by, not showing up and everything. And you have to make sure that at the end of the day, the thing is numbers, sales. You achieve your targets, no one's going to say anything because the company runs on targets. I have my own company. If I keep targets to achieve, there's a logical reason behind it. This target is kept because there's a specific budget that goes behind it to achieve that. So if you don't achieve that target, it impacts a lot of things. So I respect the company that put that forward to me, and I got the level of respect as well from them. So that's why today when I move forward into my journey of my own business and being an e-commerce consultant as well, it's much better because all relationships in the past only serve better for me. And going forward, like having these other people on the podcast is also going to be very beneficial for everyone. Like I explained the vision to you. The podcast, take it forward. We invite a lot of people from different brands, different distributors, different countries, so that they speak about the industry, and then people who are currently in retail and who want to move to e-commerce, this is your place. This is where you'll get all the information, because there's no case study that shows 25 years ago what happened in e-commerce. At least quick commerce. Quick commerce in the UAE started 5 to 6 years ago. So it's very new. You have data, and the overall thought process is you can form your own opinion. Like I have a specific way I look at the business, but I'm not going to go into detail in this. I'll give that out to people for free of cost. Go and see it. Anyone who's in the retail business who wants to move to e-commerce, you can go through that PDF. There's everything there. We'll record one session also for it, just to show people that this is valuable information that's free out there. Because people came and told me that, where can I learn what you're doing? Because what I was doing was being an e-commerce specialist at a distributor where you deal B2B. That's different than D2C. Very different. You're dealing with another business, so you have to maintain a good relationship. You have to deal with volume. So that's where the entire process is.
So, what was that mental shift? Because now at ESF, you're a business owner, you've started a business. And I remember you used to tell when you joined ESF initially, you just went there to do certain work of yours while trying to become knowledgeable about that industry. But you're just doing that set assigned task, seeking nothing a lot more in that industry. But when you switched to being a business owner, tell us about how that shift made you get a lot more respect, because by the time you were exiting your old company, ESF, everyone's seen you as a valuable person, someone who's built this company up, and there's so much that they can gain knowledge from you. Run us through how that mental shift changed a lot of things for you in your business world.
So the mental shift actually came from, when we signed a client for our Mantanga company. At that point, I remember I told you, perspective is everything. If you perceive yourself as a business owner, there's no other way somebody else can perceive you. So with that in mind, the way how I used to behave, the way how I started acting, everything started to change, because I realized it's all in my control, and I'm actually adding value everywhere I go. And the monetary mental shift came where you make a certain amount of money from 9 to 5. But I knew that money was not enough for me, because I'm capable of a lot more. Like I knew I was capable of making more. So if it took me 9 hours to make X amount of dollars, how do I reduce that time work and make more money? But reduce that time not because I don't want to do my work, reduce it by automating majority of my tasks. So I have another 1-2 hours for myself that I can act on a business that can make me more money. So in the time where AI and everything came up, like I use Grok and ChatGPT like my best friend. So it automates all of my work. I don't have to think too much in detail about, specific intricate details about things, because they do it for me. But for myself, I just have to think from a business owner perspective. What's my vision? Where do I see this being? And right now, the goal is not even to be the goal is not monetary anymore. I told you, it's money doesn't mean anything, because how much ever money you have, someone will have more. But it's the level of impact that you can keep on someone's life, like being able to help people. I told you, opening up a school in India for people who want to learn way of life with e-commerce, make money online. Like these are the goals that we have, and we'll get to that, eventually. It's not something that we chase right now, and it's right here in front of our eyes. So the things that I can tell people is, jobs are not bad. It's the best place to start. It's the best place to be. But keep in mind, if that's where you want to be, it's okay. But if you want to get out of a job because you want to make money for yourself, being in a job and adding value to a company is a good way for you to get fixed monthly income, so you can take it, invest more time. After you're done with your 9 to 5, go and invest more time. After my job, after 5 o'clock, I used to come and meet you. We used to go sit in cafeterias. We used to sit in the car. We used to sit and talk. What do we do next? What do we do next? We used to stay up late night. So It's just you have to be willing to put the effort into it. Like if you don't put the effort, it's not going to work out, and it's 1% effort every single day, and it compounds. The game is just compounding.
You know, you were talking about you want to help a lot of people. You keep talking about this. And I'm personally one of the guys who's experienced this at the highest magnitude because I told you, I always tell you, if I can do it, because at that point I was considering myself really stupid in this line of work. But you took me from that direction to like giving me guidance, taking you through all the partnerships together, experiencing this whole business world in the most peaceful way for me to express my creativity in that industry. Because you, I feel like, are good at understanding people's potentials and putting them in the right place where they can fit and do the work. It's not like you do this random thing. You're just good at analyzing different people's capabilities. So where does this thing of helping everyone comes from, and why do you do it? What's the incentive
I
for
think
you?
subconsciously it comes from my parents, just because growing up, I got whatever I wanted. I used to play football. I wanted the best football shoes. I got it. Every year I wanted an iPhone. I like, even though I didn't want it, I just got it as a gift. And it was always like, given to us by our parents. But I always perceived it in a very nice way, which is they always help us by giving us these good things. And as as I grew up as an adult, I started to realize things that my parents do, which are very good for their family, and it's all linked back to helping. Whether you help someone monetarily or you help someone like physically. So even when I told you once, all you need as a human is food and shelter. Everything else is not important. You have food and shelter, you have peace of mind then. And then from the point where you have peace of mind, what can you do additional to actually add value to your life and somebody else's life? And that's what business is like. You spend time with people, add value to them, they add value to you, and you enjoy the way of working. Like people that we work with, we don't spend time with people that we don't actually enjoy spending time with. Like I'm not interested to make a couple 5,000 dirhams, but there is a client that's going to tell me, do this, do that, do this. No, that's not the way I work. The marketplace in the world is too big for someone to treat me like that. If you want to make money with me and I want to make money with you, there's a certain level of respect, and there's a certain level of way of working that both of us will enjoy it. That's the whole way. And then when it comes to helping people also, it's just, if you don't help people, what will you do? Like what else will you do? Like tomorrow, if you and I are stuck on an island and I have water and you're thirsty, will I not give it to you, or will you ask me for money? Like it's just, it doesn't make sense to not help other people. Like if you look at the world also today, there's a lot of issues going around the world, but you just have to be two things. You have to be a nice person and you have to be willing to help. If you can do these two, you'll get it back in return. Like energy is everything. So I always believe in helping people, because that gives me more purpose. You can always go and make more money, but what feels better is knowing how many more people have you helped out, because
Right.
those people will only wish good intentions for you. Good energy comes to you.
Right, because it's in the life of business, everyone talks about competition, be competitive, because a lot of things you put out there are like trade secrets, or the hard work you put in and the knowledge you gain. You're just throwing it out for free. You're like literally holding a person's hand. What I say is like you're holding someone's hand and taking them through the entire journey. At least you try your maximum. They just need to
Yeah.
have a bit of like brain functionality to like execute the rest. So that's definitely a strong one. And what about like whenever you went through like difficult phases in your life, how has it impacted your work life? How do you create the discipline? Because you mentioned that you were a guy who was playing Fortnite all the time, and yes, you told this is the values you learn from your jobs and businesses running it, the end stuff. But there's step by step process. Like tomorrow someone starting who doesn't have a business is just sitting on his phone and scrolling, and he's seeing this video right now, and he's like, this guy is speaking some shit, but it seems like far fetched, like I can't reach it because he's put a lot of hard work. How would you like guide someone who's starting off like tomorrow? You can do this. There's this way. Even I've been there in your shoes. I played the Fortnite games. I've been lost. I've been doubting about myself. But here's the steps I did, and I had a job when I built my entire empire. So no one can say no, it's not possible. I don't have enough time.
So I think the step one is you need to improve your capacity to take in information. Like if you have a mind block, you're never going to succeed in this life. You have to be a student of life. That's the way I see it. Every piece of information you see around, you hear, take it in with a positive approach. These are like, how I said, conditioning your mind. These are things that I did for myself, which was I will always keep a positive approach to every single situation out there, because If someone comes and talks to me about an opportunity, and I take a positive approach and have a conversation for 1 minute, I also have the opportunity to take 1 minute and talk about a negative approach. I'd rather do the positive side of it because it will only lead to positive events. That's what created a lot of, be positive with a lot of things, look forward to good things, and do things in good faith. The next thing is, once you do that, you have to train your mind. So you have to consume knowledge in the right way. If someone is sitting online and doom scrolling on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, you can do it for entertainment purpose. I have no problem for it. We've all done it. Even I do it. But when it comes to learning stuff, take the time and effort to also go and learn valuable stuff through it. Like what you're trying to learn, go and search for it on Instagram. Like seek information. Only if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers that you're looking for. I'm not saying you have to do e-commerce. You can do whatever you want. It can be e-commerce, it can be a physical business, but there's a lot of information available online. So just how you're going to go and seek that information, and when you can seek it, can you understand it well enough to make an informed decision? Like 10 years ago, if someone came to me and said, buy Bitcoin, I would just be like, what is it? I don't know anything about it. But now I've programmed my mind to believe that any opportunity that ever comes up in front of me will lead to something positive. So at least let me go and look more into it. At that point, 10 years ago, someone told me about Bitcoin and I looked more into it and I even bought one of it. Imagine the reward that you'll get right now. So I use that as a theory in my mind to kind of, and it's to everyone that I tell. Like when I meet people also, I just always tell them, have a positive approach to things. You lose nothing. You actually lose something when you keep a negative approach because you're preparing yourself for the worst possible situation. Worst possible situations don't happen unless, it actually happens. But then the realistic thing is it doesn't happen when you only think about positive things, because your body acts in a way where it leads to the next positive and next positive. Okay, worst case, something happens, you learn, but it's not the end of the world. Like, and if you don't learn, you will never succeed. Nobody succeeds on their first try because nobody knows what works in their first try. You need to keep failing, and it's not failing, it's learning. It's part of the journey. It's what all of us say as friends. Like, we're here for the journey. All of us are here to spend good quality time together. We have our own office. We sit there. We do our business work. But it's not that, okay, money didn't come in at the end of the day. Money comes in at the end of the month, but you spend that 30 days doing some good quality work that you feel good about it. It's something you own. So that's the way forward that I would tell someone who's just starting off, just do that.
Yeah, like you told, intention setting is very important, because when you set an intention, like if you're walking into a meeting room, set the intention that I'm going to close this deal in the most peaceful way. Like I was just telling you yesterday, the result of that is most probably, most highly likely that's going to be in your favor. But when you go into a meeting room with a chaotic intention that, I'm trying to squeeze as much money as I can from this client.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to provide much value to this person, but I'm trying to see how much of their bag can I dig and get, so that's going to lead you to a negative situation over there. So setting the right intention over here, like definitely like help a lot of people. So when it comes to like, how do you say it? When you were running Mantanga from the initial days, from where it is we started as a digital marketing agency towards today, we are an e-commerce consultancy and we have a diverse portfolio of like service packages. Like there's literally nothing we can't do in the digital world. How do you build that vision from digital marketing and took it to that final goal, which you told we will reach e-commerce consultancy? Because when we wrote down in our pads, it was written e-commerce consultants. That's our final goal. That's the biggest goal that we can ever hit. How do you take us through that journey? What was going on in your mind on a daily basis to reach that place?
The way how I looked at it, it had a lot to do with the job that I was in at Emirates Snack Food #1, because I started to see how the business was growing, especially with Talabat, Noon and Kareem. The business was growing exponentially. And for some reason, Talabat, Noon and Kareem are able to bring a lot of people to their platform. That means they were doing something extremely well, that the cost of acquiring people to their platform, no matter whether it's high or low, they were able to bring people to their platform to use. It's just an application to buy groceries within 30 minutes, and they're able to get millions of users to their platform. So when I started working towards that and working with them, I started to realize, okay, this is how it works. This is how the marketing game is. And I started to open the application. I used to do this a lot. I used to just open Talabat's application and I used to just think, let's say I'm a digital person and this is the app. What is my customer journey like? So I started putting pieces together about what are people's journey on this application. So it started off when somebody comes into the app, you come with the intention of buying something. And when it comes to understanding what your intention is, you need groceries within 30 minutes. So you already have an intention to spend money, correct? Now you come into the app. If you know what you want, you're going to go to the search bar, correct? Because you know what you want. But if you don't know what you want, you're going to go to the categories. Then will you browse on the homepage? Maybe, maybe not. And again, this is not fixed with data. This is just my way of understanding human psychology and understanding people's journey, because everything comes down to customers' intention. So when you come to the application, what I started to do is I opened the app, I put myself as a customer, and I caught 10 people around, not in the office, but 10 other people around. And I asked them, if you had to buy some stuff on Noon, how would you buy it? Or how would you buy it on Talabat? I would just watch their customer journey. Wherever they would go, the highest frequency of number of times they were in those locations, those are the locations where you have to advertise yourself. Because that's the most number of times they will see your brand. The more a number of times they see your brand, the higher the opportunity of them trying to be interested in it. And when I started to realize, okay, this is how this application works. Now the next step is, how do we bring more people into the app, which is digital marketing, where through Instagram, you can put a link of Talabat or a link of Noon and redirect people there. Provided your ad on Instagram is very creative in a format where you're communicating the right thing, you're telling the person what to do, they've shown interest and they go to Talabat. So you have a possibility in real life of redirecting traffic. And what takes a lot of effort in the physical world, in the digital world, it's done so easily because it's all an ecosystem that works together. So the vision for being and starting off as a digital marketing agency was understanding how powerful marketing is. The power that people are just scrolling, we need to be there. We need the tools. People need to be there as businesses, and they don't have the tools for it. We understood what the tools were. We knew how to use the tools. So we approached the businesses and said, don't do it. We'll do it for you. Explain to us your vision. That's it. And then going into the e-commerce consulting part was where we understood, rather than just being only digital marketing agency, we know e-commerce a lot, whether it's in the UAE or whether it's out of the UAE. We understand the business. I understand it from a B2B side. We understand it from a direct to consumer point of view. So at that point, you are an e-commerce consultant. Any person who comes to me today gives me a product and says, this is my brand story. This is my brand vision. I want to sell this online. How do I do it? I can tell them a plan from A to Z, along with how do you have to execute it, how much is it going to cost you, what are your fees, what is your profit margins from a business level. You can tell them from a marketing level. And when it works in synergy, they'll start to see it's actually pretty easy. But you need to stick to the process. It's not that you do it and within 1 month you get returns. You have to stick to the process. You have to understand, when you get into e-commerce, you become a business owner. A business owner gets paid last. The person that gets paid first is people that do work for the business, your suppliers, your vendors. The business owner only gets paid last, but he yields the highest returns, not because of the monetary benefit, but because he knows the process of running a business from start to finish. So tomorrow he can never be broke. Like, if you've successfully made money through one avenue, you can make money through other avenues. You just got to figure out what it is. And you got to clear your thoughts, piece it all together and bring it down.
So if someone is, like how you mentioned about everything in creating a business, there is one special skill set. My bad. There is one special skill set you have, that is creating crazy, like you can produce a vision onto a screen. Like, you know how to materialize it so well. You create the best Excel sheets. The numbers are on point. Like, you've done something and you've identified your superpower, let's say. How does someone else, because not everyone can be like Anush, how do you give guidance? Because you helped me explore my special superpower in the business world, that is social media marketing, creating content, and I'm able to express it in a proper way. How do you help someone or guide someone towards finding their superpower in the business world, creating their own, skill set, polishing it up, and, building it? Because I know you went through a lot of trial and errors, but how do you end up knowing this is what I'm strong at and this is what I'm good at providing value with, and how do you stick to it? And
So I think fundamentally it's three things. One is listening, second is understanding, the third is communicating. you need to be a good listener, because you need to be able to have an open mind to accept all the information before you make an informed decision. Then understanding the information. Do you have all the knowledge that whatever someone has told you, you're able to understand it in the right way so that you can make your plan when you have to communicate something? So for me, when I get these visions about businesses, about how we can make money different sort of ways, I could put it on an Excel sheet. I used to make pitch decks about it. The reason why is whatever was in my mind just seemed like it will work. I just need to put it out on paper. So I had to find a way to go and learn this. When I was at Alcir, the best skill that I ever learned was using Excel. Because for $1 billion company, when you can understand how to use data in the right way by using Excel, I was like, okay, if they use it, I can use it in different ways. So learning Excel taught me a lot of things, because in business, you have to talk about numbers and you have to show numbers. Excel helps you very fast with calculating things, keeping things in a tabular format so that people can understand it. You want to put it into a graph, you want to put it into a pie chart, very easy. But you have to communicate this to someone so that they can do something with it. So it's just these three things: listening,
Right.
understanding, communicating.
Yeah. So some people could have the impression, like if I can't do what Anush is doing, I probably can't run a business, which is not the case. This is just a special talent that you have. And if you want to build something like we're building, you just need to find the right team, combine all of your resources and capabilities and talents, and then you'll, magnify it, because you have something special, I have some special, Arjun, Neil, all of us together, even just our friends, everyone around us, like they're constantly providing value, because we stick around with people who can provide value to us. We don't want money anymore, we don't want anything material. We want to see how much value and energy you can give us so we can use that to express ourselves, right? So when it comes to like LinkedIn, for example, like recently we started posting a lot on LinkedIn, and we are constantly trying to inspire everyone, try to help as many people as we can. And we are doing it. Very good journey that we had, like, ever since we came online. We understood social media is the only way that we can reach to a mass of people quickly and, in the best possible way. Not many people are ready to do it because they're always worried about their image outside. And LinkedIn was a space that used to always piss us off, because you're just going on there. People are just posting some random crap about, like, the certification. I have nothing against it. Like, we both have every kind of degree that every person talks about, every kind of, like, from high school, university, MBA. Like, we got it all, but we understood that these papers really mean nothing unless you can, how you told, understand, listen, communicate properly and efficiently. So when it comes to like how you recently went on LinkedIn, started expressing yourself on like these podcast form and creating credibility, tell the the viewers right now, how much of an impact now putting yourself out there will help you positively for job searches and building your brand and your own personal brand and your business.
So LinkedIn, we ignored it a lot before because we were like, okay, who uses it that much? But we started to realize once you have a good network on LinkedIn in terms of where you want to be and the people that you're around as well, that's the most powerful place because the purchasing power is over there. And I told you very recently, we're going to change the game forever. Like LinkedIn, I'm going to have our podcast out there. We need to have our podcast rolling in short form, mid form, and long form because people on LinkedIn, if they want to get this information, my information is for people who are in a 9 to 5 who want to move into e-commerce, move into their own entrepreneurship. It's not for people who only want to start, it's for people who are also in a job making enough of money, but they want to figure out ways to invest this money to get cash flow in different places so that if they want to leave their job, they have the opportunity. Everyone should have like the option of leaving their job if it makes them feel uncomfortable. So why does LinkedIn help you? Number one, you need to understand the audience who uses it. People who use it are people who are working. Everyone has a job or everyone's looking for a job. And what's the best way you can go and get a job nowadays? You have to put yourself out there in a different format so that it gives your word more trust and credibility. And you need to have the value that if you get called for an opportunity, you can deliver on what you've said. Like tomorrow, any company can call me and tell me, can you be our e-commerce consultant? I will say yes. There is nothing that I can do on e-commerce that will disappoint someone because everything has a set format of working. I've sharpened my skill set. I know exactly what have to be done. I know the duration of things. I have the right team to do everything. So there is nothing about e-commerce that I cannot do. So when I put myself out there right now and I speak about it, people trust what I'm saying and people will be like, okay, I don't mind listening to him once, twice. thrice, then you start realizing, okay, it's making sense. Then they will communicate back to me. I get a lot of messages from people wishing me well for, you've started this business. I'm really excited to hear your journey. We'll stay tuned on the podcast to see what happens. A lot of people who work in the retail business and who want to move into e-commerce, they've been asking me, we want to move to e-commerce. Is there any guidebook that I can go and learn from? So that's what got me thinking. This is snaps back. I like to help people. So I told you, I'm preparing the guidebook so people know exactly Talabat, Noon, and Kareem. How do I look at it from my point of view? It's like, a customer journey through my vision to understanding branding, marketing, and social media, as well as on app marketing.
Good, good. So LinkedIn's like a powerful tool that we see now, how many people can get opportunities, that they can create their own opportunities. So, many people wait for the interview before expressing themselves to people on the platform and, sending out their biodata, CVs. So they wait for these opportunities instead of, better being positioned by expressing themselves online in front of everyone and, talking about themselves, and then this builds their credibility. So I think a lot of people are falling in the old traditional ways of LinkedIn is working, and you need to understand things are moving, because I know you're using LinkedIn, but as soon as you move your folders back, you're going to go to Instagram and TikTok. How are you consuming these? You're consuming it in the form of video. Your brain is programmed to consume this information in form of videos and reels. Anything like in text is probably going to seem like shit to you. You're just going to be like, you know what, neglect this. So when you go on LinkedIn, it's constantly uncomfortable for you because this is not the usual way you've consumed information. That's why it's switched to a lot of visuals. People are showing their life more. People are talking about this thing. But not many people are doing podcasts. So why don't you tap into this earlier on and express yourself there? And you know how much credibility you'll build amongst the people that you're trying to work with, or like, you're trying to send a message out to. So don't neglect as a business owner, I have
Correct.
all the money, I don't want to like do LinkedIn anymore, it's just a stupid place. It's just like there's a lot of traditional business owners sitting there and a wide range of network that you can tap into, right?
Yeah, like the way how I see it is, if I put out my content on LinkedIn and somebody in a different part of the world wants to see what Anush is talking about, rather than them reading a big paragraph of whatever I'm saying, because like humans have been programmed to watch short form content because they want dopamine very quickly. So if on LinkedIn, job owners or business owners or like anyone who's on LinkedIn wants to see my content, I will give it to them in the same format that they're used to seeing it on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. So it's easier for them to view. People would just listen to me for 15-20 seconds rather than reading an entire paragraph. How many people actually go and read the entire paragraph? And these are like paragraphs after the other. So like I said, when we changed the game, having a lot of the right people on our podcast where we talk to them about the industry, about distribution, about brands, this is what's going to bring a lot of change into things, because this brings credibility out there. It helps people who want to go and get a new job express themselves, add value, and it builds a good network of people.
Right. Now when it comes down to, you mentioned everything about business, your professional life. When it comes to having that machine, your mind operate, you need to make sure that you're taking care of your personal life. Everything should be, do you believe that professional life, because a lot of people are like, put your emotions aside, focus on the grind, and personal life, screw it, we can take care about it later when we make the money. What's your thoughts on like about having a balance of personal professional life, and what impact it has on like your business and everything that is circulating around the process of making money?
So the way I see it is, I have 24 hours in a day. So that means even if I sleep for 6 hours, the remaining 18 hours I'm awake. What am I doing in those 18 hours that's like, making me feel good about things? Doing business, working, yes. But there comes a time where you have to disconnect from the idea of making money so you can live freely as a human. And the best way that I've found my way of disconnecting is spending my personal time together, like with my partner, with my family, being with my friends, going out. And these are all done in very positive environments where there's good energy shared amongst everyone. So it doesn't make me feel like, okay, there has to be a split between both. At first, there was a split between personal life and professional life. But then I started to realize at the end, we're all humans. I want to treat everyone equally as a human rather than you are my colleague in the office. No, you're a human. You're my friend. We spend time together. So I don't look at you any differently. And if I treat you as a friend, I'll enjoy spending time with you. But if I treat you as a colleague, I'll always keep negative assumptions in my mind. That's why in Emirates Snack Food, when I was working there, I had the best relationships with everyone over there. Like the owner of the company, his name is Fida, head of sales, Ali Dabus, my manager at that point, Sarah Moil. Like all of these people, I have very good connections with them because we don't treat each other as, a hierarchy. It's more like we're very open to listening to each other, give people opportunities. And these are the things that allow you to, live freely in your 9 to 5. And that's what helped me realize, this is a way of life now. That's the way I look at it. It's a way of life. It's I enjoy my work at my office. I go do my business work afterwards. I go spend my personal time. Sometimes I go and work out. Every night I try my best to at least go for an hour for a walk. So a lot of healthy habits that go into living a good life. Like if tomorrow I travel, I don't just suddenly switch off and reboot to a different version of me. I'll still live the same way. I wake up early, I'll have a cup of coffee, still open my laptop, not because I have to do work, but because that's the way of life for me. So you have to find your purpose with things. When you find your purpose, you stop working for money and you start working for the journey.
Right. This is going to be a bit more deeper about like how your friends, for example, and the people that saw you develop yourself from that version of you in the past to the person you are today. Tell us about like, when you make that shift, what do you face in that journey? Because we both felt a lot of resistance when we go through that journey of breaking through that past reality of people, how they perceive us and know us versus the version that we've embodied now and we are going towards building. And a lot of people would have a lot to say. And tell us about in the past when you faced the resistance versus how people perceive you now, your friends, and how have you taken the opinions from the past and the people in the present, and
So
what have you understood about it?
resistance is a big thing for me. Like when I'm on a flow of going somewhere, I cannot have resistance over there. I would want a team that, takes it forward like tenfold. So people who've known me in the past, they find it hard to believe who I am today. And it's okay. Like I'm not here to try to like, prove myself to someone. I'm just here living my own life, doing my own thing. And the reason why we're doing this podcast itself in the first place, I told you, I'm not here to go and get clients or make money out of this. The objective is to help people. Like if this will lead to a process where I will eventually be able to open up a school in India where people can have education, people can have fitness, people can have networking, like teach them how to talk, teach them how to listen, teach them how to understand, and I can help the next generation. That's my goal. So with people that I've come across today in today's time, older friends have come back, I have a lot of respect for them because when they come back, they've come with such good intentions, which is we're so excited to be here, we're so excited to work with you, and you can feel it not from the way they say it, but you can sense it in terms of energy because they are willing to accept information from you. That's why I always keep an open mind. I always tell anyone that I work with, do not do what I tell you. You do what you want to do, what you feel is right. If you are the owner of the company, what would you do? And you take the call because that's the way you'll learn how to be a business owner then. If I keep telling you what to do, you'll always do what I'm telling you. And I don't know enough. Like I'm a student of life as well. I'm learning every day from everyone. I learn from Arnold, I learn from you, I learn from Aryan, different industries, I learn different things. But these are the things that really matter, which is when people perceive you in a wrong way, it's fine, let it go, just move ahead with your way of life. Because if you stop and try to keep convincing people about things, that's not my purpose. Like if my purpose was to be an influencer or a content creator, then I would care what people thought about me. But what I care about is kids in India that don't have education. Can I help them? Can I make a difference? Yes, I will do it. Anything other than that, if you think I'm cocky, you think I'm whatever, I'm okay with it. Like it doesn't really matter to me.
Like you told, see, you're a guy who doesn't like resistance, but you're also a peaceful, nice guy from the way you deal with everything. As a leader who's, having a lot of people that's, dependent on your vision and how you guide them. How do you deal with resistance in the most peaceful way to make sure that, there's not too much chaos, just trying to imply your points and make them follow it through stubbornness? But how do you make people understand it? What like steps do you take towards like, making people see your vision?
So in our case, like we have a team, like of the four of us. So if there is ever any resistance and if it's against me, I'll take a step back and I will tell another person within the team. In this case, it was you. I told you that, you're best suited to take charge and lead the team just because When there's resistance, there's no point of me trying to fight it or me trying to convince people. And everyone's a grown adult, and you can't really fight resistance by, like, that's how war happens. War happens when two parties are fighting. But when one party stops fighting, then what? Someone comes in as a peacemaker and just says, okay, this is how it goes, this is the way forward. For me, the goal is, as long as there is a way forward for our company, there's a healthy opportunity ahead, I'm okay with it. But resistance, it's not a big deal for me anymore. It's just, it used to be a big thing before, because it always felt like whatever ideas I had, yes, there were always, what if the worst case situation happens? But then for me, I don't like to think about the worst case. We've not even applied the best case possible situation, but we're already thinking about the worst case. So that, like, again, and I respect everyone's opinion on things. I'm not saying I have the best opinion and stuff, but all I'm trying to say is, I like to be around people who have the same energy as me. And when people have a different mindset, a different view on life, I'm okay with it. We'll still work together. We are friends and all of that. But in this case, this is how it goes. Like, I don't think there's any two ways about it. Just let the right person take the lead.
What would you say, like, you've given us a lot of points, your journey and the empire you built for yourself, and it just continues growing because you can't stop visioning. As long as your mind is functioning, your mindset is towards like building yourself 1% every day, you're never going to stop. It's just going to be better and better. And people are going to, whoever's there on this journey with you is just going to get positively influenced by everything that you provide and do. So everyone who's watching this, feel free to, ask you for every kind of information possible. Stay tuned on the podcast. Everything that we provide is like, we provide everything just so that you can find value out of it, right? From this entire podcast, if someone had to take some key points or take away from this that could positively impact their life, what would you say and what would you give them?
The only thing that I would say, and the most important thing, is just keep a positive approach to every situation that comes across you in life. Like, every situation that comes across you, think about the best possible case scenario and go forward with that and make your next action based on that. And you will start to see how different positive opportunities keep coming up over and over again, because it's a snowball effect. If you, and like, other people call it different terminology, I don't want to call it anything. I just always say, be positive, things will come up, and learn how to listen, learn how to understand, learn how to communicate. If you know these three things very well, you will understand how to network with people. Because when you go and talk to another business owner for an opportunity, you need to understand that his time is very valuable. So when you're trying to talk to him, how valuable can that one conversation be in the shortest amount of time? Like, when you get to meet Elon Musk for 1 minute, you need to have, and if you want value from him, you can be a fanboy and go and say, can I take a picture? Everything's good, full respect to that. But if you actually want value from him, if you want to do something for any of his companies, what can you say in that time span that you have with him that can actually lead to a net positive for yourself? That is the only thing.
Mm-hmm. Great, brother. It was a good conversation. Thank you for all the information you gave. And to everyone watching this podcast, you know the daily rule. You got to follow the podcast, comment if you have anything that you want to ask, hit a like, turn on your notifications so you never miss podcasts. All these short form clips we put out there. It's just, anyways, you're consuming like a bunch of reels on a daily basis. If you're someone who doesn't consume any reels, I won't ask you to do any of this. But if you're consuming, just put aside some time to the podcast, because we're really not intended towards making any of you get any negative value out of this. It's always going to be positive, especially if Anush opens his mouth in the business world. It's just constantly like ideas booming and booming and booming. And you can check back to our first podcast and stuff that we did for when we started off, the 5 stages and everything, and how we've developed ourselves and sculpted ourselves into being the people we are today. So it's like let's say it's the credibility builders, for anyone who's watching this. And it's been a pleasure, like everyone who helped us in the journey. There's each and every single one of you. Like, our friends are coming and telling us today that we watched all of your podcasts. It's so nice to hear these things, because we don't know how many people are watching, because we really don't care. But like, we're happy to see that the people that have been supporting us since day one are still supporting us in the journey. And new people have come in, and we invite everyone to come in and, communicate with us, because it's a community we are building, and it's a free-for-all community. We don't ask you to follow some certain ways of life or anything as such. So with that, goodbye.